Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are well. So Devin Haney is no longer the WBC lightweight champion. This was due to him not being able to fulfill his mandatory against Javier Fortuna. Devin Haney essentially got injured in his last fight. He can't fulfill his mandatory. So now Devin Haney is champion in recess, and the vacant belt will be contested by Javier Fortuna and Luke Campbell. I'll share my brief thoughts on that fight in a moment, but that is the scenario in regards to the WBC lightweight title. You know, that belt right now really doesn't hold much credibility because obviously when Devin Haney got that belt, he was awarded it without fighting anybody. He basically won that title in an email. He woke up one morning, checked his Hotmail, and he was a world champion. And a lot of people were kind of critical in regards to how he got that belt, not having to fight anybody for it, and essentially a lot of people saw him as a paper champion. Obviously he got that belt because the WBC elevated Lomachenko to franchise champion, and all of a sudden, Devin Haney was the full champion. I think, this really kind of demonstrates going forwards, when the WBC feel the need to make a franchise champion, I really believe the vacant title or the real title should be contested by two fighters. It shouldn't really be awarded to somebody without fighting for it. Going forwards, to give that belt some type of credibility, if they do this franchise champion scenario, they need to, have a vacant belt contested instead of just awarding it to somebody, because it really devalues that belt. The whole franchise situation does that anyway, to be honest. Even if you have two guys compete for it, a lot of people still see that as a paper title, but at least two guys fought for it. Somebody didn't win it in an email. So going forwards, I would like to see the WBC actually make fights for vacant titles in these franchise belt scenarios. So yeah, Devin Haney technically is no longer a world champion. We will now get the vacant belt contested between Javier Fortuna and Luke Campbell. I've got to say, I do like that fight. I think that's interesting. Luke Campbell, in my opinion, is a top 10 lightweight. How good is Javier Fortuna at lightweight still remains to be seen. So far at lightweight, he's looked pretty good. And stylistically, I think that's an interesting fight. It's kind of a boxer versus brawler type fight. Luke Campbell, the tall, rangy southpaw, who likes to box behind that jab. He makes the most of that Olympic pedigree, good technical boxer. Javier Fortuna, on the other hand, a smaller, more compact fighter. He is also a southpaw, but he's very aggressive, he's herky-jerky, he's awkward, and he really comes to bring it. So, stylistically, I think Luke Campbell versus Javier Fortuna is a good fight, and it's certainly interesting. I would make Luke Campbell a favourite, but I really wouldn't rule out Javier Fortuna. Luke Campbell has struggled with aggressive guys in the past. You go back and watch his fights with Ivan Mendy. He lost the first fight, and even in the second fight, kind of struggled at times. So it's an interesting fight, and one that I'll certainly be paying attention to near the time when it happens. But again, this whole scenario just makes the whole WBC landscape look a lot more convoluted. And I mean, even this fight, you could be critical and say, well, Lomachenko beat Luke Campbell for the vacant belt. So Lomachenko then became world champion. And less than a year later, here we have Luke Campbell coming off a loss to Lomachenko, fighting for the vacant belt again, while there's been a champion in the meantime between that as well. And on top of that, Lomachenko never lost that belt in the ring. So again, I've said it numerous times, my position on this. I really hope this whole franchise champion BS is a short-lived thing in boxing. Hopefully it falls flat on its face because nobody's feeling it. Nobody's feeling it. I don't think it's to the benefit of anybody. The fighter who picks up that vacant belt is pretty much always seen as a paper champion, at least so far. If we look at the two scenarios we've been presented with, Jamal Charlo and Devin Haney, these guys were viewed as paper champions. And not only that, it also devalues the original champion, in this case Lomachenko, Because some people out there will say, well, he only became a franchise champion because he never wanted to fight his mandatories, and he's taken that franchise status because it makes his career easier to navigate. So, either way, the person who wins the belt is devalued and the original champion's devalued. So really, what's the point here? It really doesn't make any sense. Fans don't like it. I don't think it's good for fighters. What's the point, man? What's the point? But it is what it is. We don't want to moan about this too much. I mean, we'll be here till we're blue in the face. Hopefully it fails, like I said. Hopefully the WBC see sense and this is really short-lived. But I will say I do like the fight between Luke Campbell and Javier Fortuna. That's an interesting fight. And yeah, like I said earlier, one I'll certainly be interested in. So yeah, share your thoughts below. Peace.